questions.
Yeah, so this question is from the book 10 Inexhaustible Treasuries, page 486. It's about the ethics of universal benefit.
Okay, so that book is contained within what book?
So yeah, this book is a part of the Avatam Saka Sutra, which is
the Flower Ornament Sutra, or scripture, or the Flower Garland scripture. Those are different names for the same book. Go ahead.
Yeah. So in this one, they basically talk about the ethics of universal benefit. I'll just read out and then I'll ask the question.
The ethics of universal benefit. Okay, good.
Yeah. So in this one, they say, what is the ethic of universal benefit? The enlightening beings accept and uphold pure ethics fundamentally for the sake of benefiting all living beings. What is the ethic of not accepting false precepts? The enlightening beings do not accept or practice precepts of cultists. They only exert themselves naturally in maintaining the impartial, pure precepts of the Buddhas of past, present, and future. What is the ethic of non dwelling? When the enlightening beings accept and keep ethical precepts, their minds do not dwell in the realm of desire. They don't dwell in the realm of form. They don't dwell in the formless realm. Why? Because they don't keep precepts in hopes of being born there in those realms. What is the ethic of no regret or resentment? The enlightening beings always abide peacefully in a state of mind free from regret and resentment. Why? Because they don't commit serious wrongdoings, they don't practice flattery or deception, and they don't break the pure precepts. What is the ethic of non contention? The enlightening beings do not deny what has been previously established and do not innovate. The mind always follow the precepts which are directed toward nirvana, keeping them without transgression.
Do not innovate? Is that what the word was?
Yeah, they do not innovate.
Okay, go ahead.
They do not afflict other beings by their keeping of precepts. They keep ethical precepts with a sole desire that all beings be joyful. And what is the ethic of non-injury? The enlightening beings do not harm sentient beings on account of their precepts, or by learning charms, or by making drugs. They only keep ethical precepts for the purpose of saving and protecting all living beings. I think, and then they go on to talking about ethic of non-defilement, non-covetousness, impeccability, uh, non-transgression,
okay,
ethic of non-transgression. Yeah, all of those things. So I think I can see that if I follow all of these like to the letter, then I won't have the problems. Uh, uh, like the greed or desires and those kind of stuff. If I just follow all this to the letter,
okay.
But yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I think it's the same thing that I'm not able to let go of some of their desires. And for now, I'm just assuming that as I keep practicing more and more, it will become easier.
It will, but there's a fundamental mistake that you're making, a fundamental assumption.
Mm-hmm.
You're assuming that desires are something that happen. That there's you and then there's desire. Mm-hmm. All right, this is a very common error. So you're still living in a dualistic world in which the you takes center stage. Mm-hmm. So you can drop the you and there's just the presence of desire. Mm-hmm. There's the presence of fear. There's a presence of love. There's a presence of peace. But see, you're adding another element, which is a false element when you're thinking at this level. And that element is the inherently existing you, or the I, or the person that you imagine is somehow or another separate from the rest of the universe, which it is not.
Yeah, the desire affects me because I'm not able to give up the seeking for the pleasure of this small self.
Yeah, so get rid of the small self and everything, you'll be fine.
Mm-hmm. So just act.
You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to be perfect, but you need to see straight.
Mm-hmm. So I can basically
the content of consciousness is the consciousness. I did a tweet about this recently. What was the last tweet I did?
I think it was from like you talked about Krishnamurti, that when he says.
Okay, why don't you read that tweet to people?
Okay, yeah, let me pull it up. Yeah, it says Krishnamurti said, consciousness is made up of its content. Its content is its entire frontier. Is the inverse true?
That's the question I asked. All right, so but if you could just get the first part, you're still making a dualistic assumption that the objects of consciousness are there, and then you're the one who's apprehending them.
Yeah.
Just drop the you.
Okay.
Or the I. Mm-hmm. And then it all makes sense.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it already makes sense. It just
okay. Well, then now apply it to your actual existence on this earth.
Yeah, I think it's my selfishness that wants to enjoy these pleasures.
The self-ish.
Yeah, selfishness.
Ness, right? So yeah. the ishness of self, right?
Yeah.
Because that's a Buddhism at this level is built on the understanding that the self is illusory. I mean, it's just made up of all these different components, and then we slap the name self onto it. Mm-hmm. But it's actually much more mysterious than all that. Mm-hmm. The observer is the observed. Mm-hmm. The observed is the observer. Mm-hmm. And you don't need to be a Buddhist. This is also, I mean, Krishnamurti teaches the same thing, for example. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And to some extent, quantum mechanics. I mean, once they, understand that the whole universe is entangled, which they're getting to mm-hmm. very quickly, then it becomes, self-evident. Yeah. See, the universe does not exist outside you. The universe exists inside you. Mm-hmm. And that's the foundational mistake. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, don't drive yourself crazy obsessing over the last little bit of desire or whatever, because that's mentally unbalanced. David Hawkins talks about this. Dr. David Hawkins, the psychiatrist, the American 20th century psychiatrist. Yeah. He talks about driving himself mad because he obsesses over every little, thought that goes by. Mm-hmm. And that's not the middle way. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. And just because it goes by doesn't mean anything. I mean, a bird flies across the sky, right? Mm-hmm. An impulse appears out of somewhere and then it disappears to somewhere. Who knows? Mm-hmm. And the same thing's true with thoughts, etc. Mm-hmm. So just let them come, let them go. Don't get all obsessed about them, because then you're turning, a molehill into a mountain. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
I was also wondering that is obsessiveness part of temperament, or is it a psychological thing that people learn over time?
It's both. Okay. There are some forms of obsessive compulsive disorder, the disease, that apparently can be triggered by, bacteria accumulating on the mitral valve. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I haven't looked at that research in a long time, but there's all kinds of different things that can cause obsessiveness neurologically. Mm-hmm. And you can certainly ablate or stimulate different parts of an animal brain and create models of that. So it's a little bit of both. And a little bit of obsessiveness is good. You need to study, you need to read, you need to prepare for life, and you need to, function in the world. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people are not obsessive enough. They're just sloppy. So a little bit can be good, but too much is deadly, just like most everything else.
Yeah.
But it does appear to be a feature of temperament.
Okay. Okay, cool.
So if you become fastidious in the extreme, you're not going to get anywhere because you've fallen off the log.
Yeah, I mean, right, like now I am watchful for obsessiveness because I know it's a blocker. So whenever I see myself getting into that, I pull myself back. But
it depends on what you're getting obsessive about.
Like,
right? If you're getting obsessive about the Dharma, then good for you.
I mean,
if you're getting obsessive about, your shoe shine, then, that's probably not a great thing unless there's a reason for you to have a impeccable shoe shine. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. But even obsessing about the Dharma, like, so I was going through that, like, I think a couple of years ago. And then you mentioned to me that is like making my mind too tight. And I
Yeah, okay, yeah, too tight. You don't want it too tight. You don't want it too loose.
Yeah, because I was at that time I was just like, oh, I wanted to get the Satori as quick as possible. So I was just like reading very fast and doing things fast. But then it was,
well, if you're doing it very fast, then that's not obsessive.
I mean, it's obsessive in the sense that I was doing it because the reason was to get somewhere fast.
All right. Well, how did that work out for you?
Yeah, I didn't.
Okay. All right. So that was, there's a balance.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yin and yang, yin and yang, and the receptive and the creative.
Yeah.
The masculine and the feminine, all that stuff.
Yeah. I can move on to the next question I have.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so this is the one from chapter 10 from the book 10 Dedications.
Okay.
And this is the fourth dedication they're talking about, which is reaching all places. So in this one, they say, when great enlightening beings abide in this dedication, they achieve physical action reaching all places, being able to appear responsively in all worlds. They achieve verbal action reaching all places, expounding the truth in all places. They achieve mental action reaching all places, accepting and holding the truth explained by all Buddhists. They attain the power of psychic travel, reaching everywhere, going in response to beings' minds. They attain recollective and explanatory powers, reaching all places, able to please beings according to their mentalities. They gain entry into the realm of reality, reaching all places, able to enter all worlds in a single pore. They attain entry into bodies, reaching all places, able to enter the bodies of all beings in the body of one being. They attain universal perception of the ages, reaching all places. In each age, always seeing all the Buddhas, they attain instantaneous universal perception, reaching all places. Moment to moment, seeing all the Buddhas appear before them. When great enlightened beings attain dedication, reaching all places, they are able to dedicate roots of goodness in this way. So when I read that, uh, like there's definitely visual stuff going on, but because it's too fantastical, I was wondering if there's something more than just a visual or just like thinking about it.
There's a lot more. But for that, you need more understanding. But you could start with just a preliminary contemplation. Okay. First of all, where is our universe in reality?
I mean, our universe, I don't know its location, it's somewhere. Not
Okay.
I don't
Is there
know.
somewhere it's not?
I mean, there are multiple universes, right?
Well, no. We're talking about our universe, right?
Yeah, our universe is one of them.
Well, no, you're making it. So you're assuming the many worlds interpretation. But don't assume anything.
Okay.
I mean, right now, the 21st century, because they can't deal with quantum mechanics, they're postulating many universes and parallel universes and universes at the end of black holes and this and that. So to forget the theory. Where is the universe of consciousness located?
I can't tell it.
We can't say because it's not relative.
Yeah.
To say where something is, you have to compare it to something else.
Yeah.
You need to have another frame of reference, at least one, probably two, or three if you include time.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So there's no location for consciousness or for the universe. Correct?
Yeah. I mean, even when I look at
Let me finish here because I'm trying to get, I'm trying to lay a base foundation for you. Now, is there some place where the universe is not?
I mean, in my experience, it's everywhere.
Forget your experience, though. We're just talking down just science. We'd have to say that everything in our universe is within our universe, and there's nothing outside of our universe because our universe has no boundary, and it's expanding.
But you just said that we are discarding all the theory of science.
What theory?
Like multiverse.
This is not a theory, just that. Okay.
Quantum physics.
All right. This is just reason, okay? Just reason. Okay, well then let's just jump to consciousness. What's the outer boundary of consciousness?
I mean, experientially, I can only say that I don't.
No, not experientially, just logically.
Logically, their consciousness seems to be everywhere.
Yes. So there's some place that it's not?
No, there should not be a place.
Okay, so that's just reason. You need to contemplate it more. And see, in this world, consciousness has no boundary. And maybe I'm a little bit, forgive me, I was a bit confused because there's the worlds and then there's the universe. But in fact, they're all the same thing, but you haven't recognized that yet. So, in religious terms, is there some place where spirit is not?
No. In religious
terms, no. Okay, now if Buddha is identical to the universe, right? The Buddhaverse, the universe.
Yeah, the Buddha body, yeah.
So is there some place where the Buddha is not?
No.
Okay, so to just reason will give you that just based on those axioms. Now, it's also invoking something else, which is quite mysterious, but it's easy to use a Christian metaphor, or not metaphor, Christian example. In Mexico, the spirit of Jesus or God or whatever took the form of a peasant woman, the Virgin of Guadalupe. Right? And it had many of the same powers as Jesus. It was a solace to people. It reassured people. It was people could pray to her because it was very accessible. The Virgin Mary, the Mother of God, right? But it took a completely different form. And I don't want to get into all the details of that, but when you know more, you'll see that there are no limits, there are no bounds to the extent of consciousness, and there's no division off into one piece here and one piece there. It couldn't be that way. I mean, just take quantum mechanics right now. They're saying, okay, so you can have a particle as far away as, I don't know, 2 galaxies over. But if it was entangled with one that's right there in your laboratory, those two things are going to move simultaneously. By definition, they're entangled, right? And so what kind of world would accommodate that? The world of consciousness. And so, again, once you're clearer about what what existence means, right? What consciousness means, then these things will be a lot easier to access. Okay? But these understandings have to be deeply, it has to be deeply understood. It has to be understood by the marrow of your bones, right? This is life and death stuff.
Yeah, either they have to be really understood that way, or I need to experience them. Otherwise, superficial.
Either way works.
Yeah, a superficial understanding is not gonna cut it.
Well, if it will over. Okay, so let's take the speed of light. All right, you can't comprehend the speed of light, neither can I. But the speed of light has been repeated to us so many times. You know, it travels very, 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 very fast, right? And so we become comfortable with the speed of light. And then if something's referred to at the speed of light, we have, you know, it doesn't bother us. It doesn't snag us. We just become comfortable with that. Same thing with quantum mechanics, the same thing with gravity. I mean, I used to think gravity was some kind of force that was pulling things down to earth, right? But now we know better.
I mean, I am comfortable with that because I know it has been verified scientifically.
Okay, what has not been verified about the consciousness being without boundary? That's been verified so many, but much more than the speed of light. But I mean, okay. Oh, let's see. This goes way back, right? But if God is all there is, theologically speaking, what is outside of God?
Everything, yeah,
Nothing.
Nothing. Yeah, nothing.
If something was outside, then God would not be all there is.
Yeah.
Okay, so we just need to speak the same language. By consciousness, we mean all there is.
Yeah.
Something along those lines. And, you know, you don't have to accept any one of these particular approaches, the scientific, the rational, the logical, the whatever. All of them involve some level of some assumption, right? Because we're using words. But eventually, if you can continue to work at it, then these will all start to fit together, and you'll see, oh, yeah, well, you're not surprised by entanglement or spooky action at a distance. Doesn't surprise you the way it did, you know, people in the early 20th century.
I mean, I know that when gravity can work at such a macro scale, then entanglement probably could too. But I'm just not buying into the idea of like particles being galaxies away and then they are still entangled.
Okay, well, look into it. Look into it, study it, and figure out, well, wait a minute, who's off here? Right? I mean, what are the limits of entanglement? I guess would be another way of putting it.
Yeah.
So then investigate.
Yeah, and then I also like looked into this like double slit experiment and like it's like further experiments on that, and they're like the other theories which are floating around, which is they didn't measure it in the right way, they measured it in a different way, so that's why it's coming out this way. Like these are their biases and all those things. So for everything, there's a counter argument, even in kind of science.
Okay, name the counter argument to entanglement.
I mean, I think if I will look into it, I will probably find it. I haven't looked.
Oh, good. So look into it, find the counter argument, and then you will learn for yourself. And that's the only way this works. You have to learn for yourself. See, reality and truth is not for little sissies, right? If you want truth, you're going to have to work to get there. Correct?
Yeah.
And that's all, because we are so full of delusions that you've been taught since you were like 2 years old, and it's hard work to disassemble these. And so, I mean, use everything you can find, everything. So if you were to obsess about truth as a mature man, right, saying, okay, well, I need to learn this. What is he saying about entanglement, right? What is the Boltzmann brain? Also, you know, I mean, what is the reality behind mass and matter?
Yeah.
And so you have to do this stuff. And it's you should be very, very grateful because you can access these things. It's all on YouTube or on the internet, or you got an AI too. Okay, so or multiple AIs. So now I don't see any excuses. In the old days, it was really hard. You had to go to the library and check out a book if it was there, you know? All right, so that's all.
Okay.
Chance favors the prepared mind. Now, when I woke up, I had been studying continuously all day, every day, you know, because I was also doing my work while I was doing my work, right? I turned it into one thing for quite some time before it happened accidentally. Do you see what I'm saying? And the same thing's true of Eckhart Tolle. And the same thing's true of these Zen guys, the ones that wake up. So, those are other data points.
Yeah.
So put the odds in your favor.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Next question before we stop.
Yeah, I have one more question. I think we'll have to stop in 10 minutes. This one is from the book, The Teachings of Zen.
You have to stop in 10 minutes?
No, I have to, because I have to go to a meeting.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
Yeah. So this one is from the book, The Teachings of Zen. It's called The Black Pearl. It reads, when you are completely clear, there is no subjective distortion. When you are completely pure, there is true perception. But even if you are thus through and through, this is still not a transcendental key. When the wind and waves had died out, the ocean of mind is as is. When you get to the bottom of the ocean of mind for the first time, you see the black pearl. So in this one...
Okay, that's interesting. So read it again. It's very nice.
Yeah, when you are completely clear, there is no subjective distortion.
Okay, good. So that's self-evident, right?
Yeah. When you are completely pure, there is true perception.
True, right?
Yeah. But even if you are thus through and through, this is still not a transcendental key. When the wind and waves have died out, the ocean of mind is as is.
Good.
When you get to the bottom of the ocean of mind, for the first time, you see the black pearl.
Okay. So what's the question?
Yeah. So when I read it, I basically read it as an analogy for the mind. So when they are saying when the wind and waves have died out, that means when the mind has totally become quiet, the ocean of mind is as is.
Like dead ashes or a withered tree, right? Those are some of the other metaphors in Zen.
Yeah. And then when you get to the bottom of the ocean of mind, so that seems to me saying that once I am able to abide in that state for long and continue investigating and contemplating, eventually even that will be transcended, and then the true reality.
But where did he say for long?
It says when you get to the bottom of the ocean of mind. So getting to the bottom.
How long does that take? All right. I just want to make sure you're not reading things in there that aren't there. It sounded like you were saying it took a long time.
Yeah, it's when
to do this.
Yeah, when you get to the bottom of the ocean of mind. So getting to the bottom will require some work, even from that clear-headed state.
Okay, what did you just say?
So even getting to the bottom of the ocean of mind that means it will require work, even from getting the clear mind state.
Work, yes. Time, no. All right, just so we're clear.
Okay.
All right. Now, what's a black pearl?
The black pearl is probably like the true reality or the satori.
It's a very rare pearl, is it not?
Yeah.
And it's something you find.
Yeah.
Not something you create. Yeah, I think he's just talking about exploring in the Dharmakaya and getting to the bottom of the Dharmakaya for humans. Right?
Yeah.
And it had to be black because otherwise, well, no, I'll let you discover that. But again, it's just a Zen poem. It's a beautiful one. It's what it says is keep going, no matter where you are.
Yeah.
And he uses the same metaphor as the Sufis. The Sufis talk about a pearl beyond price, the priceless pearl. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, it's just like a beautiful Zen poem. And the transcendental key, that's what he calls it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So keep looking. But don't get caught up in the future so much, because that really screws up the present. So yeah, it is something you'll need to do when you get there. So it's good that you've read this, but don't preoccupy yourself with it in the present, or you'll miss the present. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, sir.
Cool.
We get you out in time, or anything else to follow up, or anything unclear about that?
No, I think it's pretty clear.
And I think you understood the crux of it. The crux of it is the mind must be still, like, the waves and wind have blown themselves out.
Yeah.
The tree is dead and withered.
Yeah.
The fire is blown out, and all you have left is cold ashes.
Yeah.
And so those are all metaphors for a state of mind, particularly Zen. Those are particularly Zen metaphors, by the way. Okay?
Yeah. And in this state, I think even having desires is going to be a defilement. Like when the desires are also cleared out.
Don't elaborate it into something more than it is. It's something that comes and goes. Okay. And if you get attached to it one way or the other, if you're fighting it or if you're holding on to it because you want to get rid of it, both of those just create more waves.
Okay. Yeah.
So let a desire come and then let it go.
Okay. Yeah.
It's not going to kill you to let a desire come and go. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But sometimes it feels like it. All right. Yeah. Okay, sir?
Okay.
But this is where the Tao comes in very, very handy.
Yeah.
All right, compadre?
Yep. Cool. Thank
All right,
you.
we'll see you. Ciao.
Thank you. Bye.